What's up, guys? It's meteorologist Andrew Myers back bringing you guys some live coverage tonight for a storm that we have headed into Fort Smith, Arkansas right now. We do have a tornado warning on this, and we do have a severe thunderstorm warning associated with that as well. Currently dropping severe hail, possibly up to golf balls in size, with the potential to drop a tornado. So we're going to cover this for you guys as it moves in and out of the city. As always, our videos are sponsored by C3 Group, Merlin Law Group, and American Contractor. Make sure you can go ahead and check them out in the description to this video. So, like I said, we've got our storms that are developing all through the Oklahoma and Arkansas region right now. Specifically, this one near Fort Smith has really gotten ramped up. You can see, I mean, if you guys are unfamiliar with the way a supercell looks, this is textbook. It's got that little curly Q at the end there that's starting to wrap up there. And so that's why we have that tornado warning on it. Do we want to get correlation coefficient up, Justin? We can take a look at the hail sizes on that, as well as see if we're forming any debris ball. So, looks like right now we are clear of a debris ball for that area, fortunately, so it's still trying to get going. But in terms of hail, it looks like we do have our CCs lowering here. Quarters to $half as of the last update is what we were looking at for the outskirts of this region. And then where we see these greens and these blues, that is where we're going to have some larger hail in the ping pong to golf ball size. And it is currently trying to, like I said, get going and ramp up here, so it's possible we'll see those sizes, you know, on the rise as it moves into the city. So right now it's making a run for Kavanaugh, for Cedars, and for, let's see, Paw Paw, Oklahoma. So it's on the Oklahoma-Arkansas border right now. I know, poor Paw Paw. Looks like that's on the northern end, fortunately. So that hail core should probably, the bulk of it, should probably pass to the southeast right now. But like I said, you know, it is looking like it's probably dropping some larger hail south of that in the ping pong to golf ball sized range. Can we take a look here and query our rotation here and see what the updraft on this storm is doing and
I just got a Lsr rapid motion 1 mile south, tornado imminent.
Okay, rapid motion. So probably just seeing a lot of rotation at the ground from this. You know, again, this is just a textbook supercell structure here with our hook going over Fort Coffee and the base of that looking like it's going to try to track into Murray Spur here. No tornado quite yet. Can we get a CC scope over it? I think we just got a radar update, so I want to check and make sure. Yeah, no CC drop there. You'll see, you know, a nice blue circle where we get that tornado dropping in that hook echo. If anything does happen for a tornado, looks like not yet, but you know, we do have all of this hail that's forming over the Oklahoma-Arkansas border right now as that tracks eastward. So, yeah, you can, I mean, let's get, for clarity, you know, we've got rotation in here right near Murray Spur where that red meets that green. And you know, that's where the inward velocity meets the outward velocity, basically just a fancy way of saying there's rotation right there. And so that's where our tornado is trying to drop into the Fort Smith, Arkansas area as it tracks eastward. So let's go back to reflectivity and let's zoom out a little bit and query the warning and just get a track going on it so that we can, you know, kind of talk about where it's headed and how fast it's moving, since it's moving into the Fort Smith metro area here. So can we query the tornado warning on that? All right, so hail size in the warning is 2.5 inches. So they're calling for tennis balls. Like we said, this is going to ramp up as it continues. It's trying to get its strength, trying to get some organization together, and it's going to be until 5 p.m. Justin, how quickly is it moving and in what direction?
Moving east at 35 miles per hour.
East at 35. Can we get a track for that and talk about what cities?
I'm going to zoom out a bit.
Yeah, so I mean, here's Fort Smith, and it's looking like it might scoot just south of the main part of the metro area there. But still could see some hail in Fort Smith proper. So once Justin can get a storm track on that. All right, so he's tracking the hook here, that tornado warned apart. So 4:38, so about 7 minutes here, Braden is gonna get hit. Now I'm not gonna say Arkansas or Oklahoma because it's right on the border. So if you guys are in any of those cities, you know that you're getting impacted soon, but Arc-Oma is at 446, and then 458 is going to be Barling, 510 in Lavaca here. So as that continues to track eastward, it is intensifying as it goes hail-wise, and that hook echo is trying to organize itself right now. So we're going to see if it happens to produce a tornado in a few minutes here, but it's definitely got some severe hail going. We can go ahead and take that track off, and I guess let's zoom all the way out and see where all of our storms are developing right now. So we've got that tornado warning storm moving through Fort Smith, and then we've had some clusters that are trying to form over in central Arkansas near Little Rock. Looks like we have a severe thunderstorm warning on this one now, but it's pretty disorganized comparatively to the north end. I mean, you don't see that textbook curly Q shape for a supercell there. But if we get some CCs on it, I assumed it's warned for some gusty winds and maybe quarters. Not really doing anything right yet. But yeah, warned for 60s and quarters. So, I mean, we could get some gusty winds out of that, as well as some marginally severe hail as it continues to track up to the northeast. So, Arkadelphia, Caddo Valley, Delight, and Okolona, you guys are now in a severe thunderstorm warning for this storm as it continues to develop. But this is not the storm of the afternoon quite yet. We do have that one up in Fort Smith, and that's why we're doing live coverage right now, is to just wait for that to get in and out of the city. And then we could have a run at Little Rock later on this evening and into tonight as this storm system continues to move up along that cold front later today. So let's jump back up to our Fort Smith storm. There's those storms trying to develop there. And then Fort Smith, the story of the night, looks like we got a radar update on that, and we're starting to, now it's tough. It looks like we're starting to lose that curly Q shape, but we're also moving closer to the radar, and the resolution on things tend to tank once you get really close to the radar. So it's hard to see things accurately in terms of tornadoes, but we can look at the CCs and look at the hail on that and get a little bit of an idea of what it's dropping. What'd you say, Justin?
We got some reports that just came in.
Oh, sweet. Yes, let's check out those, see what we got. So the first one is from just south of Fort Smith for 1 inch on the northern end of that, and then this one just to the south, looks like it's along maybe 540 there, golf balls. So yep, there you go, from the southern end of that storm where we were seeing those greens and those blues, where those CCs are ramping up and where you're getting that inflow, that's where we see those larger hailstones forming, so up to golf balls in size. And if we want to let's get our CCs on there and see if it's still producing those once we zoom in there. Yeah, I mean, that looks like a pretty solid hail core there. So, okay, all around, like I said, it gets messy once you get close to the radar. But, and maybe you even want to circle it, Justin, but around this, around the edge of that, where you see those yellows, that's where our quarters are, all around this area. And then where Justin just circled, where those greens and blues start to deepen, that's where we're getting those ping pong to golf ball size stones. Now, it's not as deep of a blue as we saw a little bit out to the west. So, it may be just kind of leveling off here with those ping pong and golf ball size stones right now as it heads into Kavanaugh. But if you guys are in Kavanaugh, Arkansas, or Cedars, Oklahoma, you guys are in the bulk of this storm right now, into the thick of it. So you want to make sure you're inside and away from any windows, as we have some gusty winds possibly moving through, as well as severe hail with this supercell storm that's tracking into your area. And then that's going to continue to move eastward along 45 and 71 here. So it's going to be in your area very soon, if not already, as this is a 436 radar update, and we're waiting on the next jump in that. So if you guys are in this corridor here, just get inside and get to your safe spots as the storm tracks eastward and into your area even more. So the bulk of this hail, again, is going to be just south of Paw Paw and just north of, I lost what city that is, but it's going to be just north of Highway 9A, it looks like, north of Braden, there you go. And that's where we're going to be getting the bulk of that large hail with this storm tracking eastward into Arkansas right now. So waiting on that next radar update here. But yeah, I mean, there's your hail core where we're seeing those larger stones as well as those lowered CCs. And things are messy as we get over the radar, but you can still see that typical supercell structure with that big anvil cloud and then that rotation coming down towards 271 and trying to wrap up. Can we get some velocities on this again and just see what the latest frame shows us in terms of rotation?
That is not velocity.
It's close. Correlation coefficient. I'm just kidding. Yeah, so I mean, it looks like the velocities are kind of starting to weaken too, but once again, we're pretty close to the radar, and it's very, very hard to tell. So just overall, if you guys are in this tornado warning, seek shelter. Follow the guidelines of the National Weather Service. They put that out for a reason. So make sure that you guys are staying safe in advance of this storm as it tracks through. So right now it's moving through Braden, through Cedars, Kavanaugh, and into the Fort Smith, or just south of Fort Smith area. Already got a quarter report up in Fort Smith from this storm as it continues to try to intensify, through the region. Is there anything on MPing, Justin, or is anyone?
Yeah, so there's a new LSR tornado on the ground 3 miles north of Scullyville, Oklahoma, heading towards Fort Coffee.
Okay.
It's hard to tell because we're so close to this.
Well, this is Fort Coffee. So that must have been from a few minutes ago, I would assume.
Yes.
When was that submitted?
4:34.
Okay, so that was 4 minutes ago. Can we go back?
Yeah.
Once it was over Fort Coffee and take a look at that? So, okay, so the report was for tornado on the ground.
I imagine it's probably in here is when that.
Yeah, I mean, it said headed towards Fort Coffee, and right now it's heading away. So, I mean, it had to have been in there at some point when we had that really nice hook on this storm, and we had a little bit of a couplet through just west of Murray Spur, Oklahoma, and just south of Fort Coffee. Looks like it might have spun up and dropped a little bit of a tornado there. Can you see the velocities over that and just scope it or something? Or, oh yeah, okay, so there you go. I mean, there's that couplet, that red and green meeting together, a little rotation indicator, so we probably did get a little spin up tornado. Whether that's still on the ground, I mean, it is not currently looking as impressive in terms of velocity right now. I assume nothing else has come in, Justin, as of like more recent than that.
No.
Yeah, and velocities don't look as impressive right now, nor does it look as impressive on our reflectivity, but it is still producing hail. Looks like, again, we got our radar update here, and this is just gonna be a mess. So, I mean, do your best to, take that for what it's worth, but it looks like we are still picking up a little bit of a hail core here through Kavanaugh and just in between 540 and 271. You guys are in that corridor. Severe hail is still likely in that area, and it looks like we're starting to gradually lose that supercell structure just south of Paw Paw and just north of Braden, which is fortunate. Don't want to see a tornado moving into the city. That's not ideal. So glad that this is lifting off the ground tornado-wise. Likely, although once again, can't stress enough, if you are in that warning, seek shelter regardless, just better safe, So if you're in the warning, just be super weather aware of that. And again, we do have some hail on the ground as well, so take that for what it is. As this continues to track eastward, looking like we're going to be moving just shy of Fort Smith, just barely south of it. Probably did get some quarters just on the south end of that city, or of the city, and we did get a quarter report coming in there. So we're gonna have to wait and see if we get more reports that pop up here in the next few minutes. But overall, do we have any more severe warnings in the area as this continues to develop this evening? Things are really gonna rapidly strengthen tonight as these storms move into this super unstable environment here. So we're gonna see likely more supercell structures like the one we are just seeing. Looks like the one over Okolona is starting to produce hail. Whether or not that's severe, we'll have to take a look at the CCs and those will tell. I mean, we are getting a little bit of a blue CC drop here just south of Okolona. And since the radar is coming from the northeast and moving through that hail core, it's likely that we're starting to see severe hail just south of Okolona here, probably in the $quarter to $half size range. What is our, I guess, is this even associated with this storm?
I think it's way out.
Yeah, I don't think that's even part of this. I think it's just there. So yeah, I mean, either way though, some some severe hail probably dropping just south of Okolona, and that looks like it's tracking east-northeast there into the Okolona-Arkadelphia area over the next few minutes. And besides that, those are really the two only games in town right now.
I think it's going to north split.
What'd you say?
I think it's going to north split.
Yeah, I mean, you can see, if you want to roll it back and forward, we can kind of talk about that, because that's like an interesting little, weather tidbit that we can go over. So, okay, so what Justin's saying is the storm's going to north split. So if you look at the storm right now, it's all one nice cohesive supercell, and then if you slowly move it forward, it starts to kind of break apart, it almost looks like. So we'll see the southern portion start to separate from this little northern wing that's coming off here just over Fort Smith. And so we could see this northern end start to develop, as well as this southern end start to develop. And with that, we could get 2 severe thunderstorm warnings coming out of 1. So, we'll have to watch the northern end of this as well as the southern end as this continues into favorable conditions through Beverly, through that unstable environment, and this one starts moving northward along I-40 into the Dean Springs area. We could see some severe activity start up with this northern end of this cell. So again, just a situation to watch. Sometimes storms do that where they split apart, and then again, instead of one part fizzling out and the other continuing on, we start to get both of them that produce severe activity. And so that could be what we see here with this storm system as it continues on. So right now, it doesn't look like any severe hail on that northern end, and again, we're going to keep an eye on it. But we're watching the southern end of the storms here to see if that continues with severe hail. Haven't gotten any more LSRs in right now, and it looks at this point like the tornado is likely not on the ground. Again, like take precautions, but it looks like hail is going to be our main concern with this supercell as it continues past I-40 and towards Beverly there. And it's moving eastward at 30 miles an hour, so, slow mover right now, taking its time, but could be producing some gusty outflow winds. If we want to look at velocities, we can kind of see, if it's starting to gust out, we can see if it's rotating at all, or we can maybe see, we're real close again, but we can try. Okay. That interests me.
It's hard to tell, yeah.
But it's really hard to tell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we just got another LSR. I think we got 2 of them.
Okay, sweet. Let's query
Well,
them.
and I'm looking up pictures on Twitter.
Oh, nice.
Looks like some pretty solid hail.
High volume?
It's large.
Or just literally solid hail.
All right, let's see what we got here. Is this one new? Oh, wow.
Ooh, okay, so it was producing some tennis balls there as we move through into the Fort. Where was this one? This one was was that in Fort Smith? That doesn't seem right. Can we go ahead and back up through the radar?
Yeah. Unless that north split did something.
We have this little cell that moved up through the area. Can we see it?
Yes. It's just so hard to tell.
Yeah, it looks like there could have been, I would guess too, down here is likely producing some larger hail. This northern end, I could see being like some scattered larger hail, but I don't think that that's going to be high volume tennis balls if that's the case. Yeah, 1 inch just south of Fort Smith. And then this one's new, 1.75. We got an intersection near Industrial and Highway 112. Okay, nice.
Yeah, Frank's confirming tennis balls.
In Fort Smith? From the north split? Okay, nice. All right, so there you go. Our mapping team is confirming, in fact, that we are mapping tennis balls with that north split as it goes. So there you go. You see those north splits starting to intensify as they pass through the area. And this is one of those cases. So if we go ahead and zoom out now, we can kind of see, oh, yep, another tornado warning on it. Nice. To 2.5 inches warning for that, no surprise since that's confirmed. So if you guys are in Barling, Bloomer, Charleston, or Lavaca, that is where that tornado warning is in effect for right now. That's going to be until 5:30. And then the second one is going to be similar. I think that's also for 2.5 inches to, or are you querying the southern one?
I did, yes.
Oh, okay, this is for the southern one in the first place. So what's that northern one for?
I think that's the old one. I think.
Okay. Okay.
I can query it just to make sure.
Yeah. I'm seeing like a line here, so I'm assuming there's two of something. Okay. Yeah, so this one is for Alma, Barling, Fort Smith, and Van Buren, also for 2.5 inches with that north split. So both of these are now warned for tennis balls. Population affected on that top one is 130,000 people. So no joke with either of those as this continues to split apart and both of these storms continue to ramp up into this afternoon and evening. So this one's moving along I-40 just south of Dean Springs. And this one is going to continue moving eastward into the Beverly area, again with 2.5-inch hail, likely on the southern one, as well as a period of 2.5-inch hail on this northern one as it continues to track eastward through the area. So let's get some CCs on both of those and just take a look at what we've got currently. So it's just so hard to tell close to the radar, but if we zoom on in, so if we zoom on in through Barling, that's likely where that first hail core is falling there. Is this the query for the severe thunderstorm? All right.
I don't know how accurate it's going to be, though.
I mean, it just shows, again, that maximum hail size shows that we've got a good updraft on that storm. That's the main takeaway from these, is that when you get the updraft on that, you see this maximum hail size start to tick up. And then when it starts to drop, that's when the storm is starting to collapse, usually, or start to cycle. So likely that this is producing hail and likely that it's continuing to ramp up. And then if we scoot up to the northern one, I want to see the hail core on that. So we got the hail core here near Barling and 59, but then if we move upwards towards the northern end, if we can, I kind of want to see that.
On CCs?
Sorry?
On CCs?
Yeah, on both, on reflectivity and CCs. I mean, if it produced 2.5-inch hail as it went through Fort Smith, that's real messy. That is, looks like that was our 2.5-inch hail core as it tracked through Fort Smith. And now it's moving up towards 162. And it looks like it's honestly starting to weaken a little bit. Are you seeing anything on LSR or on MPing? I know I'm having you do a ton back there.
0.75 on that north split now. So
Okay.
there actually is an Lsr Tornado Report.
Yeah.
Tornado on the ground 1 mile north of Barling.
Okay. I mean, 1 mile north of Barling.
Yeah.
So it looks like probably this. Ooh, oh, okay. So that came in here. I mean, I know it's a scary situation with tornado warnings, but again, just get to your safe place if you're in that warning. Be prepared, not scared. Make sure that you guys are, in an interior room or in a basement, and just stay tuned to your local weather, especially because they can tell you exactly where it's moving through, and they can help you out with those exact street names and roads since they're locals. But just again, be prepared. So yeah, it looks like a mile north of Barling, there's currently a tornado on the ground. Per Justin's MPing, you say, or LSR? But
It's showing up as an LSR.
Okay, so yeah, ground
I
reports.
don't know why the tornado ones aren't showing up.
Maybe they're turned off. You can.
I'll check.
Yeah.
That north split's now severe.
Yeah. I think they were tornado warning that north split earlier because we had like 2 separate ones. But I mean, we have the southern one that's definitely producing severe hail as well as rotation, so this one's no joke. And then the north one also got severe warned, so if you want to query it and take a look. Well, let's get a storm track going on both of these whenever you can. And we'll just, we'll break down the situation while you do that. But yeah, I mean, if you guys
query this north one.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. So they've upped the hail size now, $0.50 through Cedarville, Mountainburg, and Uniontown, and Van Buren. Severe thunderstorms lasting until 5:30 p.m. So, and again, 25,000, almost 26,000 people, just one shy, with this severe thunderstorm warning as it tracks off to the northeast, and that's that northern split part of the storm. And then the southern one is going to continue off to the east and out of the Fort Smith metro, just north of Barling, with that tornado warning on that storm. So here's that tornado warning for that north split end with that $50 sized hail. And I mean, if we CC that, it looks like we do have a little bit of a lowering in our correlation coefficients. And so that's where we could be getting some severe hail into this afternoon, just north of Van Buren and along I-59 or Interstate 59 or whatever, this 59, as this hail core continues to move up to the north through that region. And then it doesn't look like this one is rotating right now. Fortunately, the rotation is going to be coming from this southern storm that we are still watching as it moves over Barling and into Lavaca. There's our hail core on it with those quarters to $50 initially, and then down closer to the radar, but over by Barling, we're starting to see a little bit of a lowering in our CCs even more, so likely producing up to golf balls, maybe isolated larger stones, as we continue off to the east here. So we haven't gotten a new radar update yet, but we're kind of waiting on that. It looks like they said a tornado warning was just north of Barling, so it looks like we've got, you know, a little bit of a curl there. Oh, sweet, a radar update. Just in time. Yeah, it looks like there's, I mean, a little bit of a rotation there. Not a whole lot of it. Can we get our velocity scope on there?
Hard to tell.
Yeah, it's gonna be messy. Not seeing a whole lot. Best couplet is south of Barling, but we know that our rotation is going to be up to the north. So. Looks like that's what we're watching mostly, but you know, we still got our hail core that's just north of Barling and moving into Lavaca right now. So we are officially in Arkansas and out of Oklahoma with this storm, but we're going to continue to see more develop through the area this afternoon and evening into the overnight hours. Little Rock, you know, we're watching you guys into a few hours from now. Could see more like this to come in the next few hours here. Let's just take a jump out and just look and see if we've gotten anything else on that southern storm. We've got our north split now, so things are starting to pick up and a little more activity. It looks like this one kind of died off here. You know, we had a hail core on it as it was just south of Okolona, but it looks like it's not really much in terms of severe activity right now. And then we're going to continue to see things develop through southeastward Oklahoma, tracking into the Arkansas area, and then in and out of Little Rock by later tonight. So again, this is the scattered beginning of the storm system for tonight. Storms are, you know, as you see, they start up and then they just rapidly strengthen, and that's kind of what we had on this one. Started with doing quarters, and then moments later dropping tennis balls, and now it's a north split, south split storm. Just gives you the intensity as we continue off to the east there. So if you watch this southern storm here, again, if you're just joining us, we have quarters to $50 that were reported just south of Fort Smith. At the largest, we had tennis balls. So, I mean, this storm definitely has a history of producing severe hail tracking through the area, and now we've got a split, so we've got two severe thunderstorms. So with this southern one, it's still continuing to produce that severe hail specifically over Barling. You know, we're kind of few and far between on radar updates here, but, you know, waiting as they come in. So this Barling storm looking like it's still producing possibly up to ping pong ball sized storms. And where you get that deepening in the reflectivity, that's where you'll see your hail core. And that's what's going to correspond with our correlation coefficients. If you're new to hail trace, correlation coefficients just tell you how different the particles in the atmosphere are. So when you see all of this that's like red and one color, that's where we're getting just rain. Everything's shaped the same. But once you start seeing things lower in these yellows and these greens and these blues, that's where you start to see some differences in the shape and size of different things. So that's where you start to see hail, or in the case of tornadoes, that's where you see debris. No tornado right now that's visible on radar, but where Justin had just circled, that's our hail core. That's where we're starting to see that severe hail. And in this area over Barling, now it's tracking to the east. That's where we're likeliest to see the largest hail, where we have that high concentration of the green and blue CCs. So it looks like we've just tracked off to the east there. And again, that hail core doesn't look any less intense than it did a few moments ago as it's moving into Lavaca now, and it's moving just along 22 here. So again, if you're in that tornado warning, or if you're in any of these severe thunderstorm warnings, take shelter. You know, there's hail in this storm, so you know you want to make sure that you're inside, away from windows, where you're safe, and tune into your local news, because they can tell you exactly what's going on. But yes, so we got our hail core on our Barling storm, and then if we scoot up to the north, I kind of want to see what that north split side is doing, because you know we could see some potential hail activity on that. Is this a new MPing?
It is.
Yeah, let's check on that. I guess it's quarters.
Nope.
0.75. All right, so pennies. Not doing a ton. It looks like it's probably even weakened since then. So it's moving up towards Cedarville. Let's get our CCs on it and just kind of roll it back and forth. So there's where we could potentially see some hails with that CC lowering. And then yeah, it looks like it's not really doing much that's exciting. It looks like it dumped a ton of hail in the frame just before this, and now it's starting to kind of fizzle out as it continues to track up to the north. Any gusty winds on that? Let's check out our velocities and see what our wind speeds are. We're pretty close to the surface right now, and since we're in those really muted colors, that's where we see our slower wind speeds. So fortunately, it looks like this is not doing a ton in terms of super severe activity. So if you're in Cedarville, you know there's going to be a loud thunderstorm moving through, probably some lightning, probably some thunder, some breezy winds here or there, and some small hail, but nothing that's looking like it's going to be 2.5 inches or anything like that we saw a few minutes ago. So this north split, as it continues to move out of those favorable conditions, we'll probably see that start to weaken. Did they just drop the warning? Or they moved it, I guess?
Yeah.
Yeah, they just moved it just along the edge of that where we saw those two cells. You want to move it to reflectivity?
I imagine it's because of this.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, what Justin just circled, can they hear you?
Yes.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, yeah. What he just circled, then that's where we're seeing that CC lowering. That's likely where we're still seeing some residual hail, but based on reflectivity coupled with that, it looks like there's not a whole lot of severe. The southern one, though, is a different story. So yeah, just near Barling, moving into Lavaca. Still got quite the hail core on that. Now we got a new marker just north of Barling. So let's see if there's an updraft or if it's starting to weaken. It was at 2.1 and now it's at 2.3. So I mean, it hasn't strengthened much, but there's still a powerful updraft on this. So we'll probably continue to see that hail core continue and develop as it moves eastward. So again, if you can go ahead and take that off now. But as it moves into Lavaca, we'll continue to see this moving through the area. And so if you guys are in this area, if you're just north of Bloomer, if you're just north of 22 here, know that there's some severe hail headed into your area, so take the appropriate precautions for that. And then if we're watching, now it's starting to wrap back up. So we're seeing that supercell shape start to return there as it moves out and away from the radar. So do we want to take a little velocity? It's probably not going to be super clear, but let's take a little peek at the velocities. So, I mean, yeah, there's red meeting green, so there's very broad rotation on it right now, but not seeing anything super tight in terms of rotation, which we'll usually start to see when it really gets spinning and we get the chances for a tornado. But again, it's got to move out further a little bit away from the radar for us to very clearly see that, but there is some broad rotation on this. And it is tornado warned, so there is definitely the potential that this could drop another tornado as it continues off to the east. If we correlation coefficient scope it, we can kind of look around. So along that hook, there's really no concentrated area of lowered CCs, so no debris ball on that, but we are getting still an area of lowered CCs up to the north in the anvil part of that. So yeah, I mean, we're still getting some hail there. Is Johnson County at risk? I'm from Kentucky, so I don't actually know where Johnson County is, but would you mind looking into that, Justin?
Yeah.
And our producer, Justin, will let you know. Yeah, so we're tracking just this Fort Smith storm right now as it continues its way out of the population area. And Justin can get back to you on Johnson County. Most of Arkansas right now, between Fort Smith and Little Rock, is at risk right now to see severe weather into this evening and into tonight, as well as the Dallas-Fort Worth area. That's more conditional. We're going to see a lot more where this came from for the Arkansas area this evening as the storm continues to ramp up. We already did see another severe warned cell just to the south, but I mean that one came and went pretty quickly. Did you find anything, Justin?
I did. And this storm is tracking in that direction. Johnson County is, okay. Well, I think it's going to go south of there. Okay. It is basically, this is Johnson County right here.
Which one?
The one that's
this one.
Spadra.
This one?
That whole county to the north.
Oh, this one.
Yep.
Okay. I mean, yeah, right now this is moving to the east-northeast, so the southern end of Johnson County might get clipped by it. It looks like it's kind of starting to organize itself back up together, but there will be a few more rounds of severe thunderstorms behind this possible into this evening and tonight. So after this one passes through, you're still going to want to pay attention to the weather because there's likely more to come. So same for you, Fort Smith, same for anyone in this area. That and Little Rock is where we're most likely to see supercell activity until later today. And so now, okay, let's jump back on this northern storm since we got a radar frame update and we can kind of see what it's doing.
I think we got a new LSR.
Oh, sweet. Is it 0.75 again?
Probably.
Nice, 0.75. So yeah, that was for Crawford County. Dime-sized hail. So it's still below severe thresholds, but it's still producing hail. So I mean, over Rudy, can we look at the correlation coefficients on that, over Rudy? Yeah, okay, so there's where you're getting some hail right now. That looks like it's probably in dime to penny sized hail through that area as it continues off to the northeast. Not really ramping up right now. We're kind of seeing it start to lose its intensity and lose its organization as it continues off that way. So again, with those north and south splits, we usually see those north splits move off into a less favorable, cooler environment, right? The cold front is to the north of that. So as it moves off into that area, you know, it starts to lose steam a lot of the time. Now, there are exceptions, but this one looks like it's following that trend as it moves off into less favorable conditions. Seeing hail fall below severe limits for that. Now off to the south, I know we've been kind of harping on that, but right now, you know, this was the big storm in town as it tracked over Fort Smith and in and out of the area. Produced some tennis balls in Fort Smith, so definitely is a storm to be reckoned with here. But, you know, it's moving off into Charleston, moving off near 217. And with that, we'll continue to see some large hail possible. We've got our hail core just in between Barling and Lavaca along, well, I don't know what that highway is, but just north of 96 there, it looks like. Forgive me if I don't know the local roads, but moving into Lavaca, and we're going to see our severe hail with that severe hail core. So let's do you want to jump out and just see what everything is doing, or do you want to zoom further in? All right, I'm going to let Justin kind of take the reins, and I'll just follow along with whatever you pick. This one totally just died off. Just some mist now. Same with north of Little Rock. Not a ton happening there.
There is a boundary in Dallas, so but nothing down there yet. You can see it.
I mean, where you see those kind of like speckles picking up on the radar, you know, a lot of the times it can be caused by bugs, by birds, by whatever, but something's getting kicked up in that area by some gusty winds, and so that's how you can tell there's a boundary there. And it looks like there are some cells that are starting to pick up through western Oklahoma as well in the northern part of Arkansas, but nothing like we saw in Fort Smith a second ago. I think that was an early start to the rest of the show that we're going to see into tonight. So yeah, okay, so here's that show off near Lavaca, or that storm off near Lavaca. This is a new radar update. And it looks to me like it's weakening. Do you want to take a look at the CCs?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, we're still seeing a hail core on it for sure, but that area where we see those really concentrated blues and greens are starting to kind of die off a little bit. And if we query that marker there, my bet is that it's going to be either near or below what we saw before. So
oh, what the heck?
it's well above, which makes sense. All right, cool. Sure, why not? So it might be starting to cycle here. Then if it's got an updraft like that on it, it could be starting to cycle here. So, and we are seeing better rotation on it. So, I mean, the hail is starting to kind of dissipate in terms of CCs. We're not seeing the sizes we saw before, but we might see those sizes tick up in the next scan here as it moves into Beverly, and we could see this continue to wrap up rotation-wise as it moves out in towards the Charleston area. So we'll see. I'm sure that they'll rewarn this as it tracks that way, and we can see how quickly it's moving as of the latest warning update. And we'll see what these correlation coefficients start to do. Looking messy, but I mean, I guess, yeah, there you go. On reflectivity, it looks much better. Just south of Beverly, I mean, that's a hail core if I ever saw one. Mm-hmm. Moving in between Beverly and Charleston. So Justin's making a little storm cone there.
It's a flying eagle.
I like it. Very nice. Do you want to talk about that?
I can.
I'm serious. Go for it.
So anytime you see the flying eagle look, that means the supercell's pretty strong. So it's a pretty classic supercell as it's moving away from the radar site. So we're actually getting a better visual on it. So obviously you have the nice flying eagle look, and then you can see where the warm air is still getting brought into the updraft. So it's actually looking a little better than what it did 5 minutes ago.
I mean, if you want to roll the radar back and forth a little bit, we can kind of see the storm. We can kind of with the radar there, but we can attempt to see the cycle of the storm as it moved through. So I mean, here's, well, you could see the rotation there as it moved into Fort Smith. And then once it was just south of Fort Smith, moving into Central City, it looks like it weakened a little bit. You know, see it kind of lose that hook echo shape. And then, you know, it started to cycle back, and there it is now in full swing. Like Justin said, the flying eagle shape, and we get that nice bright band of reflectivity where we're starting to see a better hail core. Yeah, so, and then this hook echo we're really gonna wanna watch as that continues off towards Charleston. So if you guys are in Charleston, Arkansas, this tornado warning is likely gonna get reissued right over you guys as it's looking like it's cycling back up now. We're starting to see it continue through those nice warm, humid conditions with all of that instability. So that updraft is just gonna keep roaring as it moves through and as it continues to re-intensify moving towards Beverly and Charleston. I'm assuming the north one just kind of went away or is close to it.
Yeah.
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 There you go. Rain over Dean Springs. Yeah, so this is going to be the only game in town for right now in terms of severe activity, moving into, I think now more rural parts of Arkansas, fortunately.
Yes.
So did you find any pictures that you want to talk about?
I did.
Okay. Do you want to do that? And I can get like a little bit of water while we wait for the next frame on this.
So, turn this on real quick. So this is some of the pictures that I've seen on Twitter so far. Looks like some pretty decent hail. Like we said already, we had 2.5 inches reported in the Fort Smith greater area. And all of these that I've seen, like the ones that I just brought up, that was said it was in Fort Smith. So maybe a pretty significant hailstorm for that area. It's hard to tell. We will load these up, and I'm sure we will have these on our map as soon as we can. I'm not really sure who's mapping right now, but
I think it's Heather.
Is it Heather? Okay, yeah. So all of them that are coming in, well above quarter. So pretty. I wouldn't say significant. I don't know. I haven't seen too much damage yet, but I can't imagine. Okay, yeah, that's actually pretty impressive. Yeah. So for Fort Smith, they are the first ones of the day, unfortunately. I haven't seen any confirmation of an actual tornado. I know that I saw 3 reports of one, but I have not seen a picture.
Okay.
So that is good because when those reports came in, it was over a pretty populated area. I imagine I would be seeing something on Twitter if it actually caused significant damage tornado-wise. So, but yeah, so far it just looks like to be a pretty good hailstorm for Fort Smith. So You want me to take back over?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there's both of us.
Not mean to do that. There we go.
Nice. All right, yeah, so the only game in town, Justin did a really good recap of what, happened over Fort Smith there. And now the only game in town is going to continue to be this tornado warning storm moving towards Charleston. So again, if you're in Charleston, seek shelter, go to your safe place, be prepared, not scared, that's what we like to say. But it does look like it's starting to lose intensity here once again. We still do have some hail that's forming on this, but now it's moving off into some more rural areas out of the metro area, fortunately.
I think
that was the one we saw before. Yeah, so, I mean, you can scope the CCs and we can talk a little bit more about what hail is happening. But I think overall after that we're going to kind of wrap it up here since it's moving out of the metro and we're still kind of waiting on the rest of our storms to form. So we'll leave you guys with this. This is a CC scope here and you can see that area of that severe hail falling and then down near the southern part of it is where we're getting those ping pong to golf ball size stones likely. That storm has kind of been cycling and strengthening and weakening over and over. And so now it looks like it's starting to weaken a little bit, but it could start to ramp up once again. It's moving through plenty of instability into a good unstable environment for storm development. So we could see more out of this storm and then we'll likely see more to come through the area. There goes the reissued tornado warning for Charleston. And I'm guessing they're warning it for tennis balls. 2 inches, so hen egg sized hail. Beverly, Bloomer, Charleston, and Lavaca, you now under a tornado warning until 6 p.m. And so again, like you can see, it's starting to wrap back up there, and it's been recycling over and over and over the past few minutes here, and you can see that hook starting to form. Whew, all right, that's the best couplet we've been able to see thus far. I mean, there have been some tornado reports that have come in, but it's just been a messy view of it. So I mean, there's all our hail, there's that rotation, still no debris ball on it, fortunately. So no tornado looks to be moving through anything significant, at least, if there's no debris ball. But that does not mean that we should not take this seriously as it continues through. I mean, look at that wrapping up in on itself just south of Bloomer. So Lavaca likely just got some severe hail and now moving into Peter Render, Arkansas, as this tracks off to the east. So we'll likely see that continue.
I'm kind of curious if we just wait for another frame.
Yeah.
Before we jump off here.
I know. I don't want to leave it on that note, but we're going to kind of be waiting between radar frames here as we continue to see. Can you scope the CCs right over the hook? Or I guess the velocities, but whichever one works for you. I mean, there's the CCs, so yeah, I don't
see anything on the ground.
There's all the hail, probably doing, maybe could even be doing some 2-inch at this point through the area, but then down into the bottom. Looks like there's no tornado no tornado moving through a metro area, but I mean, velocity-wise, can you scope that as well?
Yes.
Sorry.
No, I was actually looking at it on radar scope.
Does it look better on radar scope?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, I just got an update.
Oh, sweet. Okay, so yeah, I mean, right where that hook is, you can see that velocity couplet, and I guess we're going to get a radar update any second here.
Yeah, there's still no CC bomb.
Wait, what?
There's still no CC bomb.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yep. So, but the overall look of it is pretty impressive.
Yeah, I mean, again, these are just classic supercell shapes.
Oh, looks like we got another warning for southwest Fort Smith.
Oh, geez. Look at this go. This is going to be the situation that we see for a lot of tonight. These we've already looked at, right?
Yeah, I don't think any of those are new.
Okay, 1 inch and 60s, so that's kind of the, garden variety warning. That's kind of the base that they do. But with this is again for Barling, again for Central City, Fort Chaffee, and Fort Smith. This has the potential to produce some severe weather into the next few moments here. So we're going to continue to watch that. Let's clear it off and look at the correlation coefficients. It doesn't look great on reflectivity, but I think it just has the potential right now to be producing it more than it's actually producing severe hail at this moment. So, you know, as this continues to ramp up, can we, I guess, go, yeah, there's nothing on correlation coefficients right now. I mean, maybe like a little cell right there, but nothing exciting on correlation coefficients. Oh, okay. So does this correspond with, can we flip back between reflectivity and correlation coefficients? Okay, yeah, I mean, we're getting a couplet there. So right through this area along Marietta Church Road, we're getting a couplet there, and then looks like the CCs are starting to lower, which unfortunately means that there might be a tornado kicking up some debris on the ground right now just south of Fort Chaffee, just southwest of South County Line Road. Okay, so we're looking at this. That has the potential to be a tornado on the ground right now with this velocity couplet that's moving through. I mean, the storm could just be wrapping up as we go. So let's look at it on reflectivity and see what we have. Yeah, so again, Justin talked about it a second ago, if you missed it. I mean, when supercells take this shape, where they kind of have this wide anvil cloud up here, and then, yeah, that's easier. When they kind of take that shape there, almost a V shape, and then they curl around to the south here, it's a really good indicator of a powerful supercell, and you know, that's what this one has proven itself to be. A storm with a history of splitting and producing 2.5-inch hail. Tornado reports have come off of this, as well as potential tornado reports. And then, you know, it's starting to wrap back up. Seeing our hail core here, still it's a hail core, but a small one. And then starting to see a CC lowering there where we could potentially have a tornado on the ground. So this storm is no joke. If you guys are in the path of this storm, you definitely, again, want to seek shelter. I'm going to sound like a broken record, but tornado warnings are nothing to be messed around with. You know, get into your safe spot and stay tuned. You know, it's good to be prepared. So there's where we see that CC lowering there, which, you know, checks out right with that like tail end of that supercell. And so, you know, it's possible that that storm is wrapping up and producing a tornado on the ground right now, tracking into the Charleston area. Is this a confirmed warning yet?
I don't think we've got an update on it. I'm trying to confirm it, but I can't find anything.
Yeah, Justin's got like a million controls back there, and so he's doing it all. Thanks to him. Tornado in Charleston, says Boaz. Okay, so did you say you're mapping a tornado, Heather? Okay, so Heather's our mapping meteorologist, and she says she is mapping a tornado on the ground right now moving into Charleston. So yes, if you're in this area where we're seeing those CCs, we have it confirmed by our mapping team that there is likely a tornado on the ground.
Oh, there it is.
Geez, yeah, let's zoom in and circle it so it's clear. But yes, so there's all our hail up to the north, that mess. And then this right here is where we're getting a CC bomb or just a CC lowering into those yellows and greens, and that's indicative of debris. Okay, so when we see it in the northern end of the storm, most cases, it means that there's just a lot of different shapes of hail in the storm. But when we see it on these hooks, you know, that just means a ton of stuff of different shapes and sizes is getting tossed up in the air, which is likely debris in this case. So this is heading into the Charleston area. Can we get a storm track on the hook part of this storm? Yes. And we can kind of call for how quickly it's moving, in what direction. It is still moving pretty much due east at this point, and still has a pretty powerful shape there as it continues off to the east. Okay, so moving eastward at 35. So it should be in Branch by 5:30, so 10 minutes here. Coxville by 5:39, Carbon City by 5:46, Paris, and then after that Subiaco at 6:01. So if you guys are in this warning cone, that's where, I mean, to the north of you, the storm will pass over and you could get some loud thunderstorm, gusty winds, hail, the works. But the south of this is where we could see that tornado tracking through the area and into Branch.
Oh, we just got a LSR.
Yes, we just got an LSR out of it, and this is nearer to the inflow of the storm, and usually when you see ones come in near that area, it's larger hail. That's what we have here. So this was in Charleston, golf ball sized hailstones reported. If you guys are watching from any of these areas with this large hail, feel free to drop it in the comments, feel free to message us. Ground verification is so important to meteorology. It helps us out a ton. So if you guys are seeing something, let us know. But yes, right now this tornado warning is currently warned for 2.5-inch hail. Already seeing golf balls on it. And again, Driggs, Paris, Roseville, Subiaco, you guys are in that warning. Paris and Subiaco specifically are going to be in the track of that hook and could see potential tornado impacts here as that continues off to the east. Now let's zoom in and get some roads on the actual tornado, since it looks like it's moving in just south of Charleston right now.
I'm surprised they didn't confirm it in the warning.
They didn't?
No,
Does
they
it say
just
radar
updated, though.
confirmed?
This says radar indicated rotation.
Okay.
So kind of curious about that.
Yeah, okay. Can we zoom in a little further? I'm
Yep.
like really hoping that it's kind of staying off to the southwest and it's still rural. Looks like we don't have any city roads here that we're seeing.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, it's pretty rural.
Yeah, okay, so fortunately, you know, this debris ball is, oh my, that's huge. This debris ball is likely moving off in a more rural area and just missing Charleston. So yeah, we're seeing that debris ball kind of disappear now.
Yeah.
But are we seeing the rotation continue though? Because I mean, lack of debris ball doesn't, yeah, so we still have a really tight couplet here. Lack of debris ball does not always mean that a tornado isn't on the ground. It just means that it's not throwing anything up in the air. So we still do have a couplet right here. Still do have a couplet right there and a giant animated tornado. But with that couplet, we could potentially still be seeing a tornado on the ground. It's just fortunately moving through the rural area south of Charleston. What does this rotation query have on it?
Whatever that means.
6. Cool. Okay, ignore that. So again, this is going to be our couplet. That's what we're watching for our tornado impacts. Let's talk about hail too, because I don't want to just ignore hail as that continues up, and that's moving through the Charleston area and into Branch. So yeah, I mean, no debris ball on this tornado warning currently. There was one previously, and our mapping team again is confirming that they were mapping a tornado through the area. So this does have a history of producing hail, hail and a tornado. So all the way through where we see this crazy CC lowering, that's where we're getting hail getting lofted up with this storm as we get this inflow moving up into the center of that storm and driving that updraft and keeping all that hail lofted in the air so it gives it time to grow. So where we see the yellows start, that's where our quarters to half dollars will be, right? And then near the center of that storm, where we get the most intense updrafts, the strongest ones, Justin's circling it now. So in this area, that's where we're likely getting larger hail, up to ping pong ball size likely, possibly larger than that. We could get some 2 inches where we see all those blues starting up through Charleston. So we'll have to see what reports come out of there in a few minutes as that continues off to the east. But if you guys are in Coxville, Branch, any of those areas could probably start getting, or are likely seeing hail right now, starting up with this storm as it tracks over you guys. Powerful supercell moving through. And then we've got one right behind it in Fort Smith. That one does not look as impressive, although it does look like it could be starting to drop a little bit of hail, likely below severe limits. However, we'll have to kind of zoom in and see what's what on that storm. See if any reports come out of this. But Barling, once again, it's going to be the Barling show right now. Everything's just tracking over the same area. It looks like we could see some quarters starting to drop on this storm. So hail just pushing severe limits on this storm as it's getting ramped up, and then some sub-severe off just to the west of Lavaca. But I mean, this supercell is just the insane one that we're talking about right now. Rotation. I mean, when you see those reds meeting those greens, especially in that really tight area, in that really close, compact region, that's where you get that area of really fast circulation. And that's what we're seeing just to the west of 217, and it's moving at around 35 miles an hour off to the east. Is that a CC bomb, or is that just the hail core up to the north?
Yeah, I think it's just the hail core.
Yeah, looks like it's, yeah. So we'll probably start to see, if it hits anything, we'll start to see a CC lowering once again where that couplet is forming with that red and the green. But again, fortunately, it looks like it's rural right now. The biggest story impact-wise is likely going to be hail as that moves over Charleston, as that moves over Branch, and then as that moves near something Pender, just north of Branch there. We could see some large hail with that, possibly pushing over 2 inches with this storm as it tracks through. So anything else going on right now? Did we get any new warnings in this amount of time or any reports that have come in? Justin's also able to watch radar scope, and he's able to kind of see MPing reports as they come in. He's able to see other warnings that are going on, so it's good to
I don't think so.
check everything. Still just these two? I mean,
Yep.
This kind of popped up out of nowhere, and now we've got a storm just in between Atoka and Mill Creek. Not severe yet, not doing anything, but you can see that boundary that we were talking about, that cold front, as that continues to shift down to the southeast, we're going to start to see these storms develop. They're moving into a zone of very high instability, and as they move along that cold front there, they're going to start to be pushed up and over, and then we'll start to see some storms rising up and blowing up. I mean, this was 10 minutes ago. Those like weren't a thing. I mean, if you want to like roll back the radar, you can see how quickly the storms are developing here. They're just, they go from little speckle rain showers to full-blown supercells. I mean, that's okay. So 5:09, and now it's 5:27. So less than 20 minutes later here, and these are already starting to.
This watch is new.
Oh yeah. Do you want to query?
Sure thing.
Looks like we got a severe thunderstorm watch and tornado watch here. So severe thunderstorm watch is going to be for Denton, Louisville, McKinney, and Plano. So if you guys are in the north end of the Dallas suburbs, there's now a tornado watch in effect for you guys. Models have been.
Severe thunderstorm.
Oh, my bad. Yeah, severe thunderstorm watch just north of the Dallas suburbs there. Models have been showing some gosh, now I'm stuck on tornadoes because of that one storm. But models have been showing some supercells possibly forming through this area. Could drop some large hail. We've been seeing that trend into this afternoon and evening. So, we could see more of this spreading off to the southeast along that 35 corridor and just north of Dallas. We could see this continue this afternoon and evening. But right now, all we have is this tornado warned storm just in between Ozark and Boonville. So it's moving through Charleston. Still got a couplet on it, right in here. Now it's just off to the east of Charleston, but it does not. It's been cycling. It's been doing this, but it's not looking as crazy as it did a few minutes ago shape-wise, and it doesn't look like that rotation is in as small of a corridor as it was before. So I think, again, the main story on this is going to be hail, which if you want to go back to the new radar frame of the CCs, we can kind of look at what this is doing in terms of hail, which, it's just producing a mess of CCs, which just likely means that there's quite a bit of hail on this storm. So quarters to $50 possible anywhere in this region here where we get that lowering. And then we're starting to see more and more of those greens and blues with those ping pong to golf ball size stones. And now it's likely doing up to 2.5 inches just to the east of Charleston, where we're seeing those greens and blues be even more compacted together. So this is ramping up. It's going to continue to move into that high Cape, high instability environment off east of Charleston, and then it's going to continue to ramp up into this afternoon and evening as we'll see more storms develop in behind it. So I mean, we got this one that's moving out of Fort Smith, starting to take a better shape as well, starting to look like it's wrapping up. Got this one that's already wrapping up just south of Charleston there, and then it's game on for the rest of the night, right? Like we've got plenty of storms that are starting to form along that boundary that are going to track eastward as we continue to go here into this Monday evening. So, but the best storm in town is definitely that Charleston one. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but it's really wrapping up here. I mean, you can see there's going to be an inflow moving into Charleston there, and with that, you get all that lift, you get that hail core up above it, and then you get that rotation down to the south. So, yeah, there you go. There's that, where that inflow is going to come in. That nice, warm, unstable air is going to get pulled up into that storm. That's going to help drive that hail up into the atmosphere. Going to continue to see severe hail falling, and going to continue to see the storm wrap up, and then it's going to kind of weaken, and it's going to wrap up again and kind of weaken as it continues through this environment today. And this is, I mean, like, the couplet on this, again, is no joke. It hasn't been this whole time, but you know, you can see it continue to intensify over and over and over. So right here, just south of Charleston, and it looks like we have a debris ball on that possibly. Do you want to go to
Yes.
like reflectivity with the CC scope, so we can kind of look at it over the end of the hook there with the CCs over that?
I would imagine that's a tornado along Highway 22.
Yeah, this is potentially kicking up quite a bit of debris here. So I mean, okay, so here's our debris ball. Like Justin said, Highway 22. Seeing those CCs lowering, seeing that dropping, kicking up debris through that area as it's cycled. Can we put the whole thing on CCs and go kind of back and forth? Looks like as of the last frame, there wasn't much. So either it just intensified or it has been in the process of intensifying. I wish this wasn't in the way, but yeah, I mean, it looks like, so you saw it back here, continuing to track up east, and it looks like it's just started to drop. It's possible that there was still a tornado on the ground, but this is rural, and now it's hitting more objects that are throwing debris up in the air. So if you guys are in Branch, or if you're just south of Branch, near Highway 22 and 41, that's where this debris ball is going to be tracking over to the east-northeast. So stay very, very tuned to the weather, because it looks like there's a tornado on the ground with this storm. Crazy velocity couplet on it. We got a debris ball forming with it. And I mean, reflectivity even, you can kind of see where that tornado likely lies. So if I put my hand right over where that debris ball is, and then if we switch to reflectivity, you can see, honestly, geez, you can see the supercell, I mean, wrapping in on itself. Look at that. Like, you can see it moving around itself, and there's where that tornado is forming just south of Highway 22, where we get that little hole in our reflectivity. So this is going to continue off to the east. Let's pull back a little bit and just take a look at the overall structure of the storm. And then we've got this one following right behind it. You know, starting to see a little southward tick there. So if we see that continue, this one could start wrapping in on itself as well, and it could just be a supercell and a supercell. Can we query this? There's a tornado report. And actually, it looks like there's a few hail reports that came in with it as well. Storm chaser video, okay, evidence of debris, so that's unfortunate. That's not what we want to see. Okay, so what do we got now for our hail reports as well? Okay, so golf ball sized hail on the Logan-Franklin County line, and then checking in on these. I think this is the, like, what, golf balls that was reported in Charleston, and then another golf ball report from, okay, oh, yeah, 2.25. All right, is that, okay, yeah, this is this one. So, like we said, likely producing over 2-inch hail. There you go, 2-inch hail in Bloomer. Pic relayed via Twitter. So we've got ground verification that this is in fact producing 2-inch hail and a likely tornado on the ground moving into Branch as we speak. And so this is a tornado to be reckoned with. Looks like we got 2 more off to the east. So this one's really getting going as we go. Kind of went from, you know, a weakening cycling storm to now it's in full swing. And this is just a full-on angry supercell. I want to see what those 2 reports say in a minute, but I mean, you can still see that couplet there along Highway 22. Where that red meets that green, that's just where you got the inward and outward velocities right up next to each other, which basically, again, just means that it's circling in the atmosphere. The tighter that is, the tighter the rotation is. And right now, you know, this is a super small area of rotation, which just means that it's rapidly rotating. And again, a tornado likely is on the ground. If we do a CC scope, is it still down there? It looks like we got a new frame, so my guess is yes, but okay. I mean, well, it tossed something up a minute ago, so, I mean.
I think I might have lifted.
Okay. All right, I mean, that's good, because it is moving off towards Branch. But we're watching this area. Oh, yeah, I mean, it does look a lot messier now. We're watching this storm move off towards Branch. It could try to kind of I mean, is it like splitting again? I mean, you're starting to get this northern part and then the southern part. We're going to have to see what it does. But yeah, warned for 2-inch hail. Paris, Roseville, Subiaco, and Driggs still in the warning for that. And it has a history of producing that large hail, likely up to tennis balls in size. I don't know what exactly you guys have seen at the ground, if there's anybody that, is in these areas that can safely confirm what the hail is. I mean, don't meander on outside during all this, but if it's come and gone and you see hail in your lawn, that's something you can let us know. What are these reports that are down here near Calksville? And then this one near Lavaca is starting to wrap up. Huh?
I think there might be golf balls, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I think they both are.
So still large hail on this storm, although it does look like it's starting to weaken again. That doesn't mean it's not going to re-strengthen, because that's what it's had a history of doing ever since it left Fort Smith. And now we've got this whole line that's continuing to blow up. This all is going to be much more rural, but that's going to continue off to the southeast. And now we got, we got Plano and McKinney and all those northern Dallas suburbs now in a severe thunderstorm watch. Got another little supercell that's forming over near Hartshorn, Oklahoma. We could see this start to try to, get the same supercell shape that the previous storms have had, but, these are still just little wee storms, baby storms that are forming along that boundary, and they're going to continue over the next few hours here. And then everything over here has just kind of fizzled out. This was the first part, and then this is going to be part 2 of what could be a long night for those in Oklahoma, Arkansas, and the northern part of Texas here. But, is there anything else you want to go over real quick, Justin, so I can get another drink of water?
Yeah, I mean,
okay.
If this storm doesn't wrap up, we'll probably wrap up the coverage for a bit at least.
Yeah.
Still the main show over here, just to the east of Fort Smith. We had up to tennis balls, I think is the largest that we saw reported in the Fort Smith metro area. And then as it moved on to the east, it has been producing tornadoes. There has been one on the ground the whole time, but there has been some spin ups. So obviously a very dangerous supercell. We'll keep watching it. It's still producing up to 2-inch hail. So definitely nothing to ignore. I think it's moving into a more rural area. So that is always good to see. We will just have to wait and see kind of what else this line does. So as Andrea mentioned, that cold front is firing storms back into southeast Oklahoma, and maybe as possibly as far south as the Dallas, probably northern suburbs. So we got a lot going on. This will be the start of a busy week, and so it's actually the start to a busy night. So if we have anything else that we want to go live for later, me and Andrea will be here, or she'll be at home doing it, whichever she wants to do. So
yeah, we'll figure it out, but we won't leave you guys hanging. We're definitely gonna, try and hop back on here. If anything moves through Fort Smith additionally, again, Little Rock, it's your turn in a few hours here, so stay tuned for that. We're gonna definitely keep you guys updated on the situation as it continues to unfold. What turned into something, we said beforehand, this will probably be in and out in quick 30 minutes, and I mean, it's turned into what, like an hour-long live coverage here. So, it's the potential to be a very active night. So, stay tuned to all our pages. We're on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. If you just stumbled across us, definitely make sure you follow us so that you get a good gauge. Justin's laughing. Did that on purpose, didn't you?
I thought I was going to show our social media stuff.
Close enough. Follow us so that you can.
And the Mac's computer died.
Okay, it's fine. Follow us. You can get us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and then we're gonna go live if anything else happens tonight. So make sure to check us out, and we'll keep you updated. And for now, I'm meteorologist Andrea Myers. Thanks for watching.